Another week, another departure. Hiromu Takahashi is leaving New Japan after New Beginning in Osaka. And his send-off is not the only one going on that night, although it's the only one that seems to be close to kind of permanent. We'll talk about that, plus 2 Korakuen Hall shows that had some significance, and we'll preview that New Beginning in Osaka show, which should be pretty consequential. There's a lot going on. So with Jeremy Finestone, I'm Stephen Conway. This is Speaking of Strong Style. Welcome, everyone, to Speaking of Strong Style, where we discuss the news, issues, and events surrounding New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're contributors to the Fight Game Media Network, and we got the news earlier this week, Jeremy, that Hiromu Takahashi has indeed decided to leave New Japan. We've been hearing this in the wind a little bit for the last couple of weeks, but it became real. And I have to say, we've talked about it here on the show. And when the announcement finally came, I have to say that I had some feelings about this, because more so than Evil, more so than some of the others who have departed, Hiromu was at one time, at his peak, probably my favorite wrestler in the world, and certainly has been one of my favorite New Japan characters since this resurgence in New Japan that we saw. It started with Tanahashi. We've talked about it a lot, Nakamura and all the rest. The second stage of that a little bit was guys like Desperado and Hiromu coming back from their excursions and really lighting up the junior heavyweight division and the rivalry with Kushida and everything else. And this one hits me more than most. It's like, wow, really? Hiromu's not going to be in New Japan anymore. And we've talked about how maybe he hasn't been what he was or anything else, but it's still just, he's so identified with this company, Jeremy. I'm struggling with this one. How are you feeling in the wake of this official announcement?
Not like that, in all honesty. I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys, man. He's one of my favorite guys.
I get it. He's getting the bag. From the work, sounds like he's getting the bag. You know what I mean? Like he's coming to the States, and he might be going to WWE, and Super J-Cast seems to think that that's a strong likelihood that he's joining Evil over in WWE. And I don't know, man. I'm happy for him. I got complex feelings about Hiromu. I was at the Cow Palace show where he broke his neck.
Yeah.
And that one was a tough one. That was a tough night. And a tough, I was really glad to see him back. And it was very much like, of all the possible outcomes, he had the best possible outcome from that broken neck scenario in the States. And the fact that he's healthy, he's doing what he wants to do. He's not held back by New Japan. Like, he wants to wrestle as a junior. He wants to wrestle his style against people his size. And New Japan wanted him to go heavyweight, and they were at an impasse. And, we talked about this last week. He's probably number 5 on the depth chart at this point in the junior heavyweight division. This is the time. He's done everything that you could do. Like, they talked about all of the stuff, all of his credits, winning Best of the Super Juniors multiple times, junior heavyweight prodigy, one of the top 4. They really went hard on it over the course of the first and the second shows. And I don't know. I'm okay with Hiromu being gone, because I feel like we're just going to get diminishing returns with him from here on out if he stays.
He spent a lot of this past year in Noah,
and
in a lot of ways was more in their mix than he was in the New Japan mix. I understand that time passes and things. I mean, at one point, one of my favorite guys in the world was Tomohiro Ishii, and now he's just kind of a guy that I watch, and he has a good match every now and then, but I don't really care about all that much. And I understand that Hiromu was kind of heading more that direction than going back to his Ace days. it's just difficult for me because some of my favorite matches or shows of all time, some of my favorite shows of all time from New Japan had a Hiromu Takahashi classic in the middle of them that helped make it one of the best shows I've ever seen. You know, that was a regular occurrence with him. His stuff with Dragon Lee was otherworldly. He was fantastic. He made El Desperado. Don't forget that Desperado was just kind of a guy on the card until Hiromu had that Super Junior final with him where the mask came off and Desperado showed his true fighting spirit going right through it, taking the rest of the way off after Hiromu had ripped it.
You're talking like it's a eulogy. He's not dead.
It's just that he's not going to be in New Japan anymore, and it's very, very strange. And this has been a guy who I've really looked forward to and kept an eye on for ever since he came back as the Time Bomb. And I remember the hype about that coming back, that this was going to be him. We kind of knew it was going to be him before he walked out that first day. The Time Bomb thing was not a big secret. And when he came back, he was a really good young lion. And when he was on excursion, didn't see him a whole lot. You know, Kamayatachi was in Mexico, but he was very good there. And when he came back, we felt like, okay, this could be a real addition to the roster. What we did not expect was to get somebody who was going to, frankly, blow past Kushida in terms of charisma, in terms of working ability, and take over that division the way he did. And it's just strange to me, but especially if he goes to WWE, I always thought it was a weird fit for him to try to make him a heavyweight. He's just not big.
He's not that guy.
He's very, very fast. He's a perfect junior heavyweight, which is why I'm wondering what in the world WWE is going to do with him. But, you know,
well, you know, that's a different conversation that I'll get back to in a second, because I actually thought about that a little bit. But Hiromu, for the last 10 years, yeah, he's been one of the last 10-year kind of guys too, has been reliable, and he's been exciting. You know, like when Hiromu gets in the ring, there was always a sense of unpredictability, a little bit of like, okay, now we're getting the weird. Whenever the Fantastica Mania would come around and he was Kamayatachi and you get all the weird music, and Hiromu was just a different guy. You know, he walked to the beat of his own drum in this promotion, and he's not someone you can replace. Like you can find someone that has that same spirit and that energy, but there's only one Hiromu Takahashi, and he's leaving. And we just have to be okay with that. And I was under the assumption for a while that he was going to do some Noah stuff, and he may still, but, you know, just this WWE thing where, you know, some of these New Japan wrestlers that are like traditional Japanese wrestlers, it's super interesting because I'm starting to think that WWE is feeling comfortable with the homogenization of Japanese talent in the States. We got Takeshita. We've got Okada over in AEW. You've got the Kabuki Warriors, and you got Io Sky, and everyone seems to be totally familiar and fine if they're speaking Japanese on the screen or doing whatever they're doing. Meanwhile, in AEW, you've got these work rate, talented Japanese wrestlers going on. No wonder WWE is looking at it like, why don't we bring in a couple of like New Japan guys that can really work, and we'll put them all together. I can kind of see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2026. I get that it's not Kento Suzuki and, you know, Jimmy Wang Yang and Kushida even a couple of years ago, where they just basically tried to make Kushida do the same thing, and it just didn't fit within the WWE roster. I do think Hiromu is way more charismatic and imaginative and inventive enough that he can just kind of get by, even if he went to NXT first. You know what I mean? Like, he'd blow through everyone in NXT and just be the wackiest segments ever until they get to a point where he's just kind of there. And I won't watch NXT for Hiromu Takahashi. I'm telling you guys this right now. It will not happen. I wish him well. I'll watch maybe some YouTube stuff, but I will not spend 80 minutes of my life a week watching the CW's NXT just to give you guys tabs on what's going on with Hiromu Takahashi.
Not even Ava Rain's departure is enough to get you to join in.
I don't think I've watched an episode of NXT in a year and a half. You know, I mean, the recaps are fine for me.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I feel the same way.
But it's like Evil and Hiromu, you got Nakamura there already. You have Jeff Cobb. You have all the Tongans over there. You know, it's like they've raided New Japan, and it's not going to stop. And if they need guys on the lower part of the card that can work, I mean, offer New Japan a ton of money. New Japan guys a ton of money because they have a ton of money to offer, whatever.
I've heard people say that this is part of a big plan for WWE to expand into Japan. And I would hold off on that. I'm not saying they won't, because that was the idea that Triple H had for a while when he was running NXT, was NXT UK, and there was going to be an NXT
global
Japan.
Territories.
And I'm not saying he's totally given up on that, but there are other priorities for that company right now. And Evil, Hiromu, those aren't the guys you would build a new company around in Japan and try to run. It's not that's not quite the star power you would need, and where they're portrayed right now within New Japan doesn't quite fit the idea of going into the territory with the other guy's stars. You know, this isn't what Vince McMahon did with the AWA in 1983, where he basically took, we're going to take your announcer, your best heel, and your best babyface, and then run them all in your town. It's not quite that. So I do feel like they think there's something to do. And keep in mind, the Hiromu to WWE thing, there's smoke. There isn't fire yet on that.
Right.
Just smoke at this point. Good. A lot of smoke, but you know.
Speaking of which, and we hadn't talked about this beforehand, but in the other direction, what are your thoughts about AJ Styles in New Japan?
What are my thoughts about AJ in New Japan? He was a great top heel for a while. A great top
I'm talking
foreigner.
about in 2026.
If he does, it would be one-offs. I mean, he's retiring, I think, because he wants to spend more time at home, not more time in Japan.
Well, he did a show at the Royal Rumble in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he lost, and he had no retirement ceremony. He did nothing to indicate that he was leaving his boots, his gloves, or anything in the ring. It was about as unceremonious a retirement as you could possibly have. And then he said on some podcast, I think Stephanie McMahon or whatever, that he says everyone go out, like one unretirement, one retirement that's not really a retirement. And I am more convinced than ever that this dude is not retired, and he is coming out to do some shows and some matches. And I don't think it's out of the question that he wrestles one match or two matches in New Japan this year. And if he did, wouldn't it be Yota Tsuji at Dominion?
Maybe. I mean, it could be. It's a matter of,
you don't bring him in to wrestle on the lower, anything other than the world title.
No, it'd be huge. It would be a huge match, and it would be in a major show. But I don't expect him on any road to anything.
No,
I think it'll just be, and one or two of them at the most. I just think that would be about it. He's not going to rejoin things full time on that. But if he wants to come back, I'd be thrilled.
This guy's going to get paid a lot of money to do one match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, maybe who knows? Anybody can come back. Retirements mean nothing in pro wrestling historically.
Absolutely
nothing.
There are a number of people who are losing their minds that this guy could come back and wrestle some dream matches in AEW. And I'm sure that he would get paid a ton of money to wrestle a very, very small schedule. But to me, if he were to come back to New Japan, there's only one match. And it's a world title match against whoever the world title guy is. And he puts him over. You know what I mean? It's a one and done kind of thing. And if New Japan guys are leaving for WWE, I figure it's a fair game to talk about some WWE guys that might come to New Japan.
I mean, anybody who's not under a full-time exclusive WWE contract could come back for one big match. Anybody, maybe Kenny someday, maybe anybody someday, Will someday, maybe, like I said, anybody, Jericho. There are no rules against it, and in wrestling, anything can happen like that. You can always come back for one more.
Dave and I were talking on this weekend, and this came up, and he was like, do you know how hard it is to work in New Japan right now? Like, these guys that are this old and coming back, it's not like what it was when they were younger. It's so hard. It's so tough. And I was just thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, if this kid's coming in, he's only wrestling 1 or 2 matches. He's not doing the tour schedule and putting his body through that at this point.
No. Otherwise, you just if that was it, if he wanted to work full time, just stay in WWE. You can be home more. That's
yeah.
So anyway, that's all bizarre
conjecture and hypotheticals,
and we don't even know that Hiromu is going to WWE. We do know that he is leaving New Japan, and I'm sad about it. What can I say? It was one of my favorite guys, and I know he's not dying or anything like that. But if he goes to WWE, I'm not going to see him. I just am out on American wrestling right now. I'll get back to it someday, but I'm not in it right now. Japan and Mexico has all my attention at the moment, and all my spare time that I put aside for wrestling is in Japan and in Mexico. So if he does go over there, then I'll be sad I didn't see it, because I actually liked his Noah stuff this past year. I enjoyed that. So I'm sad to see him go.
I'm with you. I am sad as well. My general mentality though is, we cover this New Japan, and it's my favorite promotion of all the stuff that I watch, in all honesty. And, I am thankful for these wrestlers whose matches that I enjoyed, who then go off in some form of healthy state to ply their trade and make more money elsewhere. I can wish him nothing but the best and be happy for him. And I don't want to get tribal about it. I don't want to get anything like that. I'm just glad he's walking away on his own terms.
It's
like you said, he called it a happy situation that he was leaving.
It's interesting to me too that a lot of these people that go over to WWE and succeed, like Nakamura and all that, even Kushida, who's done all right in the States, really worked for a bunch of different people, they don't come back full time, do they? They don't come back to Japan full time. You're like, boy, I can make that kind of money and work a much lighter style over here. I don't have to do nearly as much in the United States, and I don't have to put my body through nearly as much. So when I see a guy leave New Japan and head over to either WWE or AEW, I'm just thinking, probably not getting him back. Just because who wants to beat themselves up? And look at what we saw it at Tanahashi's retirement ceremony. Look at what this style does to human beings. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's hard.
That's why I'm like, he's walking away on his own 2 feet. Like Evil walking away. He may not make a whole lot of money in WWE, but his wife sure is. And he can live, and he can be happy as well.
And what is Hiromu? He's not 40. He's 36 or 37 or something like that, in that range right there. So once again, a 3-4 year deal gets you to your 40s with more money than you used to have in an economy where dollars work very well in Japan. I was just there twice. It was, believe me, your dollar goes quite a long way. Jeremy was there recently. Not an expensive place to be
because I thought the dollar went so far.
Yeah, you what now?
I spent too much.
Oh, well.
I thought the dollar.
Well, yes, I spent too much money too, but I got a lot of stuff for that money.
Oh, I absolutely did too. Very happy. I'm actually wearing my Desperado limited collection shirt right now.
Hey, all right, there you go. All right, so that's Hiromu Takahashi. Farewell. His last match will be at New Beginning in Osaka. I'm getting. We'll mention it when we get to the preview, Jeremy. I'm getting my dream tag team for one night before one of them leaves, and it'll be the last time I get it. So yeah,
not
all right.
On your bucket list. Also, Drew Maloney hurt his tricep, but he's going to keep on going. But that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, the news is that there's no news. Is that he hurt himself, but he's going to keep wrestling, which I think makes him like every other person in the company. I'm not trying to knock Drilla Maloney, but I thought that was a weird black and white line mark to put up. I guess they're preparing us for maybe it's an angle alert. Yeah, because they do remember. I'm not saying the Drilla's tricep is kayfabe, but it might be incorporated, woven into a storyline, because they have done kayfabe with that lion mark before. It's not. They're not under oath on there
right now.
Yeah.
Did you notice? Did you notice their pre-match routine in one of the matches where Drilla did not participate in the group whatever?
I don't know. I've given up on trying to figure that stuff out for the most part. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that New Japan is organized enough or 100% planned out enough to put a lot of stock in every single little thing like that, because I used to, and they used to, be in a position where everything meant something. That hasn't really been the case in a couple of years, and I felt like we have chased a lot of red herrings that just turned out to be guys saying things in post-match comment. It used to be if something was said in post-match comments, you should really pay attention to it. And that's not true at all anymore. Guys just kind of throw stuff out there. But it's when you hear it more than once is what you got to pay attention to. So if Maloney missed the group, high five at some point, it could be that his mind is wandering a little bit. Not everything means something anymore in New Japan.
The only reason my angle alert is coming up is they just did this thing with Shingo. Shingo hurt his ribs, and they made a production out of it on the show, and then they did the black and white lion mark.
Yeah.
Drilla not participating with the Unbound Company right after Shingo being injured. Them putting the black and white lion mark up for that. I'm not sure what this all is, but it seems highly suspect once you start lining all that stuff up and knowing that those two are incorporated with each other as the War Dragons. And it's weird. You know what I mean?
It could very well be a way just to put over United Empire, is that they're going on this tear and injuring guys before the match. If that comes into play where they do damage to Shingo's ribs and they work Drilla's arm in Osaka and win, then we have a little bit of an answer, is that these guys are not just here to win. They're looking to hurt people. They're very angry. They're very frustrated. They're trying to injure now in addition to just trying to win. That could be the story for United Empire, as Callum Newman takes this more aggressive approach to being a faction leader. And that could be the story that they're telling in Osaka, is that these guys are not just having a resurgence, but there's a cruel streak to them, and they're looking to put guys out. It's a way of getting a heel over.
Yeah, that might just be it.
Maybe. Wanted to mention our sibling program, Power Bombshells. In a lot of ways, a show that kind of inspired this one, because I was a watcher of Power Bombshells, and I had the idea that, hey, we should do something like this for Japan-centric at first, and I narrowed it down even further to New Japan, and that kind of put Jeremy and I together in a roundabout way. They're about to have their 200th episode. We started after them, but because we have done a lot of special episodes regarding Dominion, Wrestle Kingdom, and all that kind of stuff, we have done more episodes than they have. They're about to have their 200th as well. We had ours back.
They do way more hours worth of content than we do. I think they do 3 hours each week, and we do I would lose my mind if I did 3 hours each week.
But congratulations to them. Sam has been getting some really cool interviews lately, so make sure you check them out every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And wanted to mention this as well. This little
also,
owl here in the background.
Mel, in addition to Sam.
Oh, of course. Both of them. But Mel made this little owl for me right here. This one, I got that. So that's on screen here. That was a little gift from one of the gals there.
I'll let her know you displayed it.
So no, it's congratulations to them. Looking forward to that. Of course, we have the Dynamite Show, all those other shows here on the Fight Game Media Network, and the podcast.
The Dynamite Show, the Wrap. Speaking of the Wrap, we'll
Keelan Scott,
AEW and WWE pay-per-view recaps whenever those happen. Can't wait to recap Revolution, whatever that show is. I don't know.
The Wrap, by the way, is how I keep track of WWE these days, because Keelan and Scott do such a good job of, and it keeps me from watching, what is it, 15 hours of programming a week or whatever it is right there.
I actually watch and follow WWE less than I ever have before. I watch Raw, and I watched Survivor Series, and I watched Royal Rumble, but I don't watch anything else.
I've been keeping up with Stardom, Marigold. TJPW has a tag team tournament going right now. I'm liking that. All Japan is building toward another Triple Crown title defense. Kento Miyahara just had a successful defense against Talos, a former WWE guy that's in All Japan right now, and they're building to a match with Jun Saito. That was the main event of the show I saw last year as part of the Champion Carnival, and they're going at it again for that Triple Crown. Those are the last two Triple Crown champions. So they have a big show coming up there. Noah's rolling along. So Japan's keeping me plenty busy.
I will tell you what, of all the guys that I've been watching wrestle so far in 2026, man, Andrade is just something like with a fire under his ass. Ever since he got let go from WWE and able to wrestle again, he was great at the Tokyo Dome. He was great on the last couple episodes of Dynamite, where he wrestled against Swerve and Kenny Omega. He's got this match coming up with Gabe Kidd that I'm now really looking forward to. Like, this dude, I think he knows it's his last chance in wrestling because he ain't ever going back to WWE, and he's got something to prove. And my God, this dude is wrestling out of his mind right now.
He has few bridges left to burn. He needs to make something work.
Well, what's the Dylan McKay line from 90210 that our friend Garrett likes to say? Let the bridges we burn along the way light our path.
Oh boy, that's some deep Aaron Spelling
90210 style.
Okay. So I want to say hello. Brad is here, the ace of Joshi. Brad is with us. Jeremy Orr is here. Glad to see both of you. And hello to Colin at home. Glad to see you. He's there every week. We always get a comment from him. If anybody wants, by the way, if you have questions, like we interact with the people here that watch live, but we understand that not everybody can do that. If you have a question, ringsidereplay@gmail.com. That'll get to me.
Speaking of strong style at gmail.com.
Yeah, send your questions in if you have any.
Email, whatever.
Yeah, we're happy to answer. And Brad has an update for us. It's very important. We don't have a lion mark to put up, but he said Taguchi announced that he burned the inside of his mouth, but that he is going to continue eating his dumpling. Well, thank God.
I actually had a coworker that had the same issue, and he told me about it this morning. He burned his mouth eating a dumpling last night, and I said, "Oh, Taguchi," and he looked at me and said, "What?" I said, "Nothing."
I appreciate Taichi's announcement as well, which he said Taichi has an important announcement, and then the announcement was there's nothing important to announce.
He's an odd one.
All right. So Jeremy says it feels like we're losing many key guys right now, and you are. That's not just you. The evil thing. There'll probably be more. This is the time of year, the first quarter of the year, when a lot of the one-year deals are up and they're either going to be renewed or not. And we go through this every single year, it feels like. But again, with a rough 2025, decent start 2026, we'll get to that. But a rough 2025, maybe not the budget that they've had in the past for foreign talent. And it does mean that, or any talent for that matter. And it does mean that some people are going to be leaving. We had the WWE raid a few years ago when AJ, the Good Brothers, and Nakamura all left pretty much at once. Stuff like this happens every once in a while. But then we had Ospreay and Okada in fairly quick succession. And now we've got Evil and Hiromu in fairly quick succession. Sometimes it just works out that way. And a lot of the contracts get the guys through Wrestle Kingdom. They end in the end of January or in February or March so that they can have them under contract so that the company can know what they're going to do with them through Wrestle Kingdom. Will at least go all the way through to the big show. Then there's some turnover. Chase Owens said he re-signed. So we'll get Chase back. It's just not surprising. I don't know who else he would sign with. I'm not trying to.
Well, no. Did you hear about that contract, actually? He's actually paying New Japan to wrestle.
No, now stop that. Now, the key to that, Jeremy, of course, I feel like if he were one of the guys that were going to work for AEW, that would have happened by now. And I think Chase Owens provides the valuable service of having good matches and being a guy that can be beaten on the card. I think that's a valuable service. But he doesn't have the size and, frankly, the build that would interest WWE. He's also a little bit older than what WWE is looking for right now. I think if AEW were going to happen, it would have happened. He's not a lucha guy, so kind of like, who else is Chase going to sign with? It's either this or Indies, right?
He's the Brooklyn Brawler for New Japan. You know what I mean? He's a guy that shows up. You pay him per date. He might make some money off of this merch if he gets on fire. Both the promotion and him prosper on it. But if he's just a guy, he's just a guy. And he's just a guy. Like, he's fine. Like, I don't wish him ill. I don't wish that he never worked at New Japan.
Yeah, I get annoyed with that.
I can take it or leave it with him. And it just doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I get annoyed with some of the venom on him. It's not like they're putting him over for the world championship. It's like he's on the card taking losses a lot of the time
he's the snake bite where you don't want to see your favorite young up and comer lose to Chase Owens on their ascent up. You want to know that he's someone that they'll get past quite easily because he's just the low level jobber, and when he gets one on you in the G1 or something like that, it just kind of annoys the audience. And I get it, but
he's a heel. That's the job.
You need plot driven losses for some of these guys that you can either avenge or come back from, and prolong the career and the storytelling aspect of pro wrestling 101.
All right, so let's get to these Korakuen Hall shows. We did have 2 of those, and they set up the New Beginning in Osaka, which we're going to preview in a little bit. At February 1st at Korakuen Hall, Jeremy and I last week played the over-under game, where I put the over-under of attendance at 1,100, based off of the previous 2 Korakuen shows. And they had 1 over and 1 under. It was a push, Jeremy. So the first night, they had about 1,200, which is not full, still a couple hundred short of full. Second night, the one headlined by Goto and Oiwa, a good bit less than that, only around 1,000.
Here's where you got to look at it, right? It's 1,307 total between 2 nights, and if you divide that by 2, it's the over of 1,150 per night.
Well, 2,307. But yes, so they went under one night, over the other night. I was looking at attendance.
It's fine.
Well, it's not. That's not good. They should be able to fill that building. But the Stardom did, about 1,400 that Stardom rolled into it and had a good crowd. Between Wrestle Kingdom, New Year's Dash, which was at Ota Ward, also in Tokyo, and then 4 Korakuen Hall shows, they ran Tokyo 6 times in the span of 33 days. That's an awful lot to ask. And when I looked at the attendance at the Road 2 shows, they're at about what they've been doing. They've been steady. They've just did 2 days in Fukushima, just doing preview tag stuff that's not on NJPW World. And it's about this in the 700s, what they always do in those smaller towns in Fukushima. And those are some pretty smallish metropolitan areas. And 2 years ago, they were doing a little better, like New Beginning 2024. They did about 900, but it's been a rough couple of years, and they've lost a few. But this is about what they do. Tokyo seems a little exhausted right now of New Japan, and they just aren't drawing much. New Beginning in Osaka almost sold out.
And it sold out.
Well, it's not. You can get like some single scatter tickets. I just looked before the show. You can buy a couple of tickets for Eddie on the New Japan page, but it's basically down to single scattered stuff. There are not big blocks of tickets left at Edion Arena, and of course, Edion Arena is this weekend is like the first time wrestling's been really back in the big room in Edion. They shut it down after the March Sumo tournament last year for refurbishment. Stardom is going to run its pay-per-view there Saturday. New Japan's going to run New Beginning there on February 11th.
How many seats is it going to fill? Is it 6,000, 8,000?
Yeah, when the place, if you go with a minimalist presentation, meaning a ring and an aisle, you can get, I think, something like 7,000 or 8,000 in there. If you block off that one section because you have a stage and a video screen and all that, I think it's more of a 5,000 seater.
Okay.
But either way, that good crowd is coming next Wednesday in Osaka. And around the rest of the towns, things are fine. It's just Tokyo that's hurting right now. And I wonder if they just aren't worn out. Just a lot of shows in a short amount of time. And they aren't well attended so far, these Korakuens. But they had a hot crowd on Sunday. The 1,200 that showed up were into everything. So I felt there was good energy on the Sunday show. Monday felt a little bit more like had a house show feel to it. But let's go into this one that was attended by 1,234 people on the February 1st. Young Lion Cup finals led it all off. It was Katsuya Murashima and Shoma Kato, the 2 most senior ones. Went about 11:15. It was a good match. This was really fun, and the fans were really excited about it. Kato is noticeably larger, and even Chris Charlton mentioned it. Like, he is bulked up a little bit, and they had a terrific spot in the middle. The best part of the match was a real struggle where Shoma had Murashima in a Fujiwara armbar, and there was a struggle for him to get to the ropes or tap and things, and that could have gone either way. They made it look. And Murashima came back. He got the Boston Crab and then was jumping up and down in the crab which was
that
too
looked
much.
actually really painful.
and it shut him down, and that was it. Shoma had to tap out, and Murashima won the Young Lion Cup. And at that point, Tanahashi came in, President Tanahashi, and presented him the trophy. And after that, he said that he was going to go on his overseas excursion. He wants to go and just overseas is all he said. So we don't know if that means England. We don't know if it means the United States.
I think he's probably on a Rev Pro.
That makes sense. That would make sense. It's either that or there aren't a lot of dance partners over here. Like, Ring of Honor is possible, but Rev Pro feels a little more possible.
I feel like if it were Ring of Honor or AEW, that would be immediately announced.
Yeah, I think you're right. And
like,
he can work
the way they did with
too.
Shomakato going to CMLL, which is also announced in this thing.
Yeah,
like
that's
they did the whole advertisement and the whole deal. And
that's what I was about to say. So here's what's going on. Murashima is going to leave right after New Beginning in Osaka. Also, he's going to that's going to be his final match as a young lion in New Japan. Kato is staying around, and he's going to work the Fantastica Mania tour when the CMLL guys come over here. He's going to work those shows, and then when Fantastica Mania is over, he's going to get on a plane with them and go back to Mexico and start working in CMLL.
Well,
so that's it. Yeah, I do too. And I think there's a really good chance Kato ends up being the next Tiger Mask if they decide to continue with the character. I think that's the guy for it. And there was, but a good match. It was nice. And we will see one final send-off match for Murashima coming up next week. And they're wrestling on some of these Road 2 shows too. After this one was Unbound Company. This was Geto, Oscar, and Yudo Ice against Shota Umino, Tiger Mask, and Yuya Uemura. They won with the knockout, the KOB, the knockout bomb on Tiger Mask. Geto was probably the most over person in this match. There was a stare down afterwards to set up the tag team title match. Not a whole lot to say about some of these matches on this show, but Jeremy, if you have something to go ahead and jump in.
No, I don't. I actually did something on my screen and I can't find anything, so just keep on going.
All right. But Brad is saying he loves that the Young Lions all got their own merch. I think it's kind of fun too. I like that they did that. And then Brad just says, really fun final. The jumping Boston Crab is a great rendition. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I've been watching wrestling for 40 some years. I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen somebody just jump up and down, like leave their feet in a Boston Crab to put over the idea that it's a more fierce move. I don't know. He also is asking, I don't think I've ever seen it. He's also asking if they're going to change the tag team title. We're going to get to that at the preview. But that was an interesting way of finishing that match. Don't think I've ever seen it. Might be unique to me. TMDK.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I got everything figured out. I don't know what happened there. I pressed a button and like this Chrome screen went right and my other screen went left, and I just had like the blank thing, and I could hear you and I was talking, but I was like, I don't know what happened here. But yeah, no, I enjoyed all of it. Keep going. Sorry.
I'm glad we stopped for that. We have TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Kosei Fujita, Ryohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. against Bishamon. That's Goto and Yoshihashi, Bolton. And they added in Ryusuke Taguchi. So Oiwa won this one with a half crab on Taguchi. And when Taguchi wasn't in, the action in this match was fine. But again, just a preview. Another one came after that where we had Great-O-Khan, Henare, and Zane J facing Unbound Company, that being Daiki Nagai, Drill Maloney, and Robbie X. Robbie X is the guy I want to see more in New Japan. If Hiromu is leaving, he is the perfect guy to slide right into Unbound Company. He's fantastic. This guy is really good. And Henare ended up beating Nagai with the Liger Bomb. I can't remember what they decided to call Henare's version of it, but it's a Liger Bomb. I'm surprised Chris didn't call it at first, but it's a power bomb where the guy giving the power bomb sits out. That's the Liger Bomb. Jushin Liger was the one that did it. Pretty good. Robbie was excellent again in the match, like I said. And Jeremy is asking, are we doing predictions for New Beginning?
Bomb.
Okay. Then Jeremy, yes, we're going to do the predictions, or we'll do the preview to end it. So we're going to go over these Korakuen shows here first. And then we had Master Wato, Toriano, and Yo teaming up with Aaron Wolf to face the House of Torture, Dick Togo, Doki, Ren Narita, and Yujiro Takahashi. And Jeremy, this one had the surprise ending. It wasn't a great match or anything like that. It was very House of Torture-ish with the interference and distracting the referee, but it came down to the end where the pipe was in the ring. Doki's pipe was in the ring. The referee was distracted. Master Wato found the pipe in the ring, picked it up, thought about it for a while, and then just waffled Doki with it. And this got one of the pops of the night. Everyone's like, finally, somebody is just acting like a man here, so to speak. Showing some stones anyway. Whacked him over the head with it. And then
beat his ass, pinned him, got on his knees, straddled him with the belt on his face and said, "I'm coming for you."
Yeah, and the crowd was chanting, Wato, Wato, Wato. It's good to see some stones on some baby faces. Sets up a good challenge. This was a breath of fresh air to me, Jeremy.
Where the hell did this come from?
I know. They always make the baby faces look like such weenies in New Japan, and this was like Wato just going, no, screw this guy. I'm hitting him in the head with a pipe. I'm down.
Yeah, that whole moment of should I or shouldn't I? And I was like, oh,
he's not going to.
Yeah. Did.
Yeah, everybody popped when he finally did because everyone expected him to drop the thing. You're like, oh, yeah, he's not going to. Brad says that Wato looks great and he's ready for the title. He said, do it, Ghetto and Gang. Wouldn't bother me. But I don't know. We'll see how when that match happens.
That Wato, they're putting it on Wato, but who knows?
But I was happy to see it anyway. I thought it was a nice little twist. Okay, after that, we had a pretty darn good match right here. David Finlay and Hiromu Takahashi against Callum Newman and Jacob Austin Young. This one went a while. It was almost a 20-minute long match, but I enjoyed it. It was an overkill finish on Jacob Austin Young. Finlay got the win. And, of course, they did the usual thing where they were trying to use one another, Finlay and Hiromu, as weapons, basically, including they were up on the top rope and Hiromu tried to superplex Finlay onto their opponents. Instead, Finlay headbutted him and knocked him off the ropes all the way down onto him, and it was Hiromu that took the fall. Afterwards, Hiromu says, I just can't tag with Finlay anymore. I just can't do it anymore. Well, he won't have to, I guess. But
I think both of them feel like they're on their way out at this point. That promo was the ultimate in let's just have a good time because this doesn't mean anything in a month.
You're right. And then we had Francesco Akira and Jake Lee in the main event against Taiji Ishimori and Yota Tsuji. The stuff with the juniors was really good. The Ishimori and Akira worked very well together. I like how Tsuji and Lee are kind of working together here a little bit. It's unorthodox, but I am enjoying their interactions. I understand that Lee is not to everyone's taste, but I kind of like him, and I'll stand up for him. I thought this was interesting. And afterwards, Akira hit, the finish was Akira hitting the crown fall, his version of a driver, and he won it. So he pinned Taiji Ishimori. It did its job right there, putting a little more heat on United Empire. Francesco Akira being pushed up the card is excellent. I'm happy about it. Him pinning Ishimori was good for him here, and his wrestling in it was outstanding. We know Ishimori's great. We know Akira's great for that matter, but it's fun to see it. And Akira taking this more aggressive heel approach is working for me so far, and I think he's going to be a nice fit in this role.
Feels like it's finally his time. Like he's been there a while. He was tagging with TJP for a while, and they were trying to get him going last year, and then he broke his hand or broke his wrist or whatever. And when he came back with a vengeance. He's come back aggressive and ready to take the spot that's been given him, and I'm really happy to see it.
He has progressed so nicely, and I feel like they have handled him intelligently. You mentioned the injury, and that did set him back, yes. But when he first came in, he was doing jobs just like everybody else does, just like Jacob Austin Young was doing. Now they have Zane J that can do it for him, and I don't think we're going to be seeing Young lose as often as before. And he kind of moved up to that tag team with TJP, where TJP was carrying a lot of the freight at first, and then slowly Akira came up to meet him. And then you might even say that at times I felt like TJP was letting him shine a little bit. And by the end of that team, I thought that Akira was the guy in it. He was the better wrestler in it. And a lot of it because I felt like TJP was allowing that to happen. Then he goes singles, and he has blossomed. I feel like they brought him on at exactly the right pace, and he feels ready for this. Not just that he's thrust into it. I feel like this is exactly where he should be. It's time for him to be a force in that division on the singles end. And so I'm happy for him. I'm happy for New Japan because I think this guy can have some dynamite matches. And I just keep thinking about the young talent they have here with Kosei Fujita, Daiki Nagai is on the way. Akira, there's a nice generation underneath that layer of Desperado and Wato and Yo and Sho that's coming. And I think it's going to be good to watch.
The thing about Akira up until about probably just now, actually, is the confidence factor has completely changed his appearance and persona.
Yeah.
For the longest time, he just came off as like, oh, he looks like such a good kid. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
As a junior heavyweight, like, oh, you know, it's like he's not like the runt of the litter, but he just felt like at the end, like one of the guys that you pick middle to last on the team if you were going down the line, as opposed to like, no, I want that guy first on the team. Now I feel like he's like varsity, like he's the star and it's his time to shine. Him and Fujita really feel like they are the two guys that need to take this division by the horns and just redefine it going into the next year.
Let's get to some comments about this and some of the guys in this match. Brad mentioned that he's getting closer and closer to liking Jake Lee. He's pulling him in.
I already like him.
I do too, but he's doing good stuff in this feud with Tsuji. He's growing on me.
Weird.
He's bringing the weird, yeah, and there is an awkward, strange charisma to the guy, even when he doesn't look like he's doing a whole lot. You're watching him. I liked him in Noah. I liked him in All Japan, so I'm down with this.
He's doing Heath Ledger at the Joker is what he's doing.
Maybe there's a little bit of that in there. That's fair.
Just completely unbalanced, like, you can't tell what I'm doing, but I've got a master plan. Just laughing and like the big smiles. And there's definitely like sociopathy in there that I kind of appreciate. I don't think he's going to win or anything like that. But like I said, for a good first opponent for Tsuji and probably a continuing opponent for him, he's doing the job.
Yeah. And then Jeremy Orr mentioned he heard Finlay may get a dual contract with New Japan and AEW. No? All right. You know,
where'd you hear that?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that too. Those dual contracts don't tend to work out well for New Japan anyway.
I've heard that there's another guy that might get a dual contract.
Yeah.
But the AEW part of David Finlay is something that I've been starting to hear a little bit more and more. And while I thought he might be WWE bound, he might not be. And some of the stuff that they've been doing with mentioning the War Dogs by name on Dynamite last night and having Connors and Gabe Kidd together there kind of makes me think that they might actually bring Finlay in there as well.
Yeah, Connors is signed with AEW. We know that too. Let's see. Brad mentions that Wato and to Akira for the junior title sounds like a good plan. I await their feud for it. Akira wins Best of Super Juniors and he gets the title shot. I'd be down. That is a very real possibility that Akira wins Super Juniors this year. That could be part of this push. I feel absolutely he might. And then Jordan from Canada is here. Hello, Jordan. Glad you're with us. He says Lee has something special going. His psychology and grasp of character is really good. He's tall, menacing, and a little unstable, which is a nice combo for a heel in wrestling. And he also says great athleticism by Francesco. Very impressive. He's fluid in Italian and Japanese and English. So the man speaks 3 languages effectively. He is Italian. He is Italian, so I think English and Japanese are his second and third languages, I believe.
I'm not ready to pull the trigger on Wato beating Doki just yet. I like what I see so far, but even more so, Wato is behind. Up to this point, he just felt like he was on the back end of the depth chart of the junior heavyweight division. So I like what I see, but if he were suddenly thrust as the champion of the division, I almost think that would set the division back more than Doki being the champion right now.
I see your point. The only thing I could think of with Wato becoming the champion would be if the story is just the sinking of the House of Torture. Just
Yeah.
the part of the continued
like there's
destruction of
something
his-
there to it. Like
Yeah.
Wato, I don't think anyone would argue would be seen as a transitional champion. And if
Yeah.
he held the title until Akira got it at Best of the Super Juniors as the winner of the Best of Super Juniors, and then you win Akira and Fujita like at the end of the year. I get it. I'm down with it. I'm all those things. Just it feels like it's coming out of left field to suddenly like put the belt onto Wato with like one defiant moment, and then we'll be running into that feud. I just want to see more. I just want to see more.
There's one more very subtle thing. I don't know if I'm reading into it too much on the second night too that I'm going to bring up when it comes to that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I understand your point. Wato would certainly be an underdog in that match under any circumstances. So, and we also don't know when that match is going to be, by the way. It hasn't been announced.
No, we do not.
February 2nd, though, the next day, they were back at Korakuen Hall. A few fewer people in the crowd right there, only about 1,073. But they saw some decent stuff, and this was a more subdued crowd, but it was a work day. We had Yasuda, Umino, and Uemura defeating Nagai, Oscar, Yuto, Ice. Umino hit the lariat into a dragon suplex that was on Daiki Nagai to win. They had a post-match brawl with KOB afterwards. Then
I have my brain fart comment that I meant from the last match that last time we talked about it. I really like the intensity of the feud between Uemura and Umino and the Knockout Brothers.
Yeah.
I think that the backstage comments, everything has really like coalesced into a strong feud in which they are really trying to get this over with the backstage comments where Shota is just like, look, these guys are the best tag team in the world. And I know what it looks like that we've lost twice and we're trying to go at it again. But Taichi and Ishii, you know, they gave us their strength when we beat them, and now we're ready again. And I'm just like, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for all of this.
The next one was another win for Master Wato over House of Torture. He got the Vindaval on Dick Togo. This is the point I was making here, Jeremy. They did something they don't normally do. And again, not everything has to mean everything, but Dick Togo was going to use the Garrett in this match, and Sekimoto, the referee, saw it and stopped him, which almost never happens. And then he got eaten alive by Wato, got him in the Vindaval and tapped out. They're just these little subtle hints that House of Torture is getting crushed. It's, you know, they're losing. Man. They lost Evil. They've lost a lot of matches lately. They barely won anything really since Kingdom, except for Doki. And it just kind of keeps piling up. We expect Narita to lose to Aaron Wolf. It just feels like they're setting something up. And that's usually, that's usually when a group surges, is when they've been torn down.
Well, Steven, you know what they say. Not easy being evil.
Okay.
All those other guys trying to be evil, you just can't be the guy. You can't coordinate it. You can't get that Garrett out with the referee looking. Like, you got to be better than that. They had a guy that was telling them when to pull this crap, and now he's gone. And look at him. Shambles. Shambles, Steven. This is one of those things. It's not easy being evil.
All right. We had United Empire beating Unbound Company again. In the next match, good action in this one. It was Newman, Akira, and Young beating Hiromu, Geto, and Finlay. Once again, Akira with the crown fall, meaning he pinned Ishimori and Hiromu within 2 days. So again, more signals being sent that he is on the ascension. Jacob Austin Young stole Hiromu's jacket. Rough day for the babyfaces all around. United Empire booked to look very strong here.
This was probably Brad's match of the night because he loves him some Jacob Austin Young. He even has himself a T-shirt of the lad. He is a big J-A-Y fan.
And more Unbound Company against United Empire. This time, Drilla Maloney. He hit the Drilla Killer on Jacob Austin Young in the next match to win. There was an interesting part in the post-match comments. This match itself wasn't anything too wild, but the interesting post-match comment. Did you see him, Jeremy?
No, I tried to get to him today, but this was the match beginning that I thought was so interesting too. So you do your part, and I'll do my part.
Afterwards, in post-match comments, Yota Tsuji brought over 2 folding chairs while Jake Lee was doing his comments, or about to not do his comments. Jake doesn't talk very much. He put one out, sat down. He said, let's talk like adults. And they sat down. And they chatted about what the match meant. He said, and he asked, like, what are you trying to do? He asked Lee. This is Tsuji asking Lee. What are you trying to do? Like, what statement are you trying to make? He said, you feel like there needs to be a revolution in New Japan. You feel like there needs to be some sort of change. And they said, I think you could do that more with Unbound Company than United Empire. And Lee thought about it for a while and said, oh, you're trying to poach me? And Tsuji just said, we're over here fighting. We could do more interesting things together than while fighting. And Lee said, can I give you an answer on that later? You don't need it now, do you? And he said, no, of course not. He didn't say no. And I thought that was intriguing. I don't know what this is leading to, if it's going to lead to anything. But it was an interesting little interview segment where Tsuji just kind of says, I know you're trying to do something. I know you feel like this company needs a shakeup, but you're with the wrong guys to do it. And Lee didn't just dismiss that out of hand, which I thought was intriguing. Maybe that's leading to something in the match or whatever, but I'm curious to see where that went, just because I haven't seen that before in a New Japan setting in the post-match comments, where the guy just pulls up a chair and he says, here, let's sit down and talk about this like grown-ups. And they have a little back and forth that wasn't about, I'm going to destroy you. I want to kill you. I want to take everything you've got. It was, you've got a plan. I just don't think you have the right henchman. Interesting to me.
Okay. I meant to watch this, and I saw some images of them sitting in chairs across from each other. I'm like, oh, that looks intriguing, but I didn't want Dog losing its mind like it has been for the last couple of weeks. So I took him for a really long walk right before the show, and I meant to fire it up, but I watched the backstage comments from the first instead. This to me says more about Tsuji as the top babyface leader of the company, because he's the guy trying to unite like all of New Japan into one, like, you know, like we're all in this together. Like, I'm the leader of the promotion, I'm the champion. Like, I want us all to like compete with each other, but it feels like you're trying to tear this promotion down where I'm trying to lift it up.
Well, no, it's interesting. He said, I think you think, this is Tsuji talking to Lee, I think you think that we need a breath of fresh air. Like, we need something new. We need a revolution. It didn't sound to me like Tsuji was accusing him of trying to ruin New Japan. No. You want to lift this company up too. We're better together than fighting.
Yeah, he wants to bring all of these like people together into like a competitive world, but it's not like driven by hatred. It's driven by competition, and like, join us, we can do this. I get it. That's what a leader is supposed to do. Like, I'll watch like benevolency and the way that people like bring together instead of trying to divide. And like, to me, that's the energy of like a Tanahashi or an Okada or one of these like all-timers, like saying like, no, we are New Japan, you are New Japan, join us, and we can, you know, make this better than it's ever been before. I'm still not convinced Unbound Company is going to be the long-term name of that group, just like Unaffiliated wasn't the long-term name. It just, I saw the t-shirts, I see the name, don't care, just don't like it.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced that Jake Lee is going to suddenly turn on United Empire and join.
I don't think he is at all.
But I am curious to see where it goes with that. And it is an interesting point. I just thought it was something different than some existential battle between two men for their souls and fighting spirit. It's just something, two guys eyeing each other up, just like, I think we're trying to do the same thing, aren't we? You know, it's I thought that was intriguing. All right.
So the beginning of this match, all the Unbound Company guys come out, and they're in their corner of the ring, and they've got their new like hand gesture where they all put their fist in the air and they all do it. It's not quite the LIJ thing, but it's kind of in tribute of it. Instead of putting their hand on their chest and going up, they just put their hand up in the air. And Robbie X, Taiji Ishimori, and Yota Tsuji all did it. Drilla just stared at them and did not participate in like the hand gesture, and just went over to the side of the ring and and got ready to be tagged in. And, he ended up winning the match and all that. I just thought that was incredibly curious that they did it like that.
We'll have to see. And so then we had a series of 3 singles matches. And Brad says the top 3 matches in the show were a lot of fun. The 2 trios teams have made those titles fun. And I look forward to the defenses. Good job by them. I will agree. I thought these were 3 fairly strong matches in a row.
I thought they were G1 quality. Well, not the best G1 matches, but if they were in the G1, you wouldn't even bat an eye.
The first one was Oleg Boltin and Hartley Jackson. Went about 12 minutes. It's all they needed. And I don't mean that in a negative way. They got a lot done in these 12 minutes. They fought in the orange seats for a while. Hartley took a terrific looking bump over 2 rows of chairs, putting over Bolton's power.
He took a suplex onto the chair. Don't undersell that. Like he went flat back into a row of chairs, and it looked atrociously painful.
And later on, he even kicked out of a kamikaze, although not the full-on from the corner running one, but he kicked out of a kamikaze. He hit the DVD on Bolton. Bolton kicked out of that. It all led to a superplex and then a full kamikaze to win. Terrific. Yeah, good, real well-worked big man match. It didn't need to go longer than this. Everything they did meant something, and I thought it was a real solid effort from both guys. Enjoyed the heck out of it.
A Japanese version of a meat match. These two just were slapping meat against each other for like 12 minutes. It was just power moves and just chop and slams and pain. And the right guy won. Everything made sense. They both looked like they were in an immense amount of pain afterwards, but their pain was for our pleasure. And I thank them for this. This match happened, and it was everything that I wanted it to be.
Oh, this is so awkward. Okay, so afterwards we had Zack Sabre Jr.
Stop it. It was awesome.
God. That's Big E, right? The meat slapping thing? Wasn't that a Big E thing? Oh, God. If I could go back in time.
Slapping meat.
There are a lot of things I would prevent if I could go back in time. That would be probably 80th on the list, but it's on the list. It's on the list. There are a lot of other things I would stop first. But anyway.
You didn't want 2 times of beef.
God, it's so weird. All right. Zack Sabre Jr. and Yoshihashi was next. This one went about 20 minutes. I actually thought the start of this one was a little slow. I wasn't enjoying like the first 8 or 9 minutes of this match. Then it built, though. I felt like the way Zack was selling his neck, it just put the match into first gear where it took a while to get out of. But it made sense that he was doing that because Yoshihashi is, after all, the headhunter. So the neck breakers make sense.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Anyway, it turned into a terrific match. Once they kicked into gear, this was very, very good. In the end, Zack beat him by submission. So the first 2 matches went exactly the way they thought they were going to go on paper. Well, Zack is a little bit higher up on the pecking order than Yoshihashi. You would think that Bolton is a little higher on the pecking order than Hartley, and that sets us up for the last match to be the deciding one in this 2 out of 3 series, so to speak. That's exactly what it was. But Yoshihashi and Zack worked well together here once the match got going.
Yoshihashi, slightly heel. Zack Sabre, slight babyface in peril for a portion of this match. It was kind of a weird dynamic. I remember watching the match and watching Zack taking a bump against the ringside guardrail and him just being on the ground and Yoshihashi just kind of beating the crap out of him down there. It's like, wow, this is not really kind of what I'm used to seeing with these Yoshihashi and Zack Sabre Jr. matches. But I'm not against it. It was just, they had to have that dynamic where it wasn't Zack Sabre Jr. beating the crap out of him for the entirety of the match if he was going to end up winning in the end.
You know what? I guess that's probably it. Is I was expecting the match. I said it was a good match once it got going. I did think it was slow in the beginning, but what I was expecting is the usual Yoshihashi barely hanging on because Zack spends the first 10 minutes turning him into a pretzel. And they didn't do it that way. They had Yoshihashi kind of get the jump on him. And Zack's selling on it was just a little off for me. But once they started doing their usual thing and trading the big moves back and forth, I was really into it. I liked it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a flip of the general convention. But once you look at it like that, it's like, oh, yeah, everything makes sense on this match. That's why I was like, these were all just kind of slightly G1 quality that I just like, I enjoy random singles matches on these undercards to the big New Japan like shows that have meaning, and you're just like, yeah, this is a good singles match that we're having on here. And it's not just tag, like undercard multi-man tag, undercard multi-man tag, undercard multi-man tag, over and over and over. I'm really glad about that right now.
Brad mentioned that Hartley shared a picture of Homer Simpson when he fell in the fire hydrant. He was bent in half and said, same picture, and boy, did it hurt. Yeah, it probably did. Those orange seats are rock solid, by the way. I've sat in them. They are rock solid seats, and not large either. So that would be a pretty tight space to get suplexed into, let alone a very hard surface to land on awkwardly on your back. So tough bump. Main event was Hiroki Goto and Ryohei Oiwa. This one went 15 minutes, 38 seconds. It was pretty good at times. It was a good match overall. Goto ended up winning it with the GTR. And for me, Jeremy, there wasn't a whole lot to it other than being a good match, which is all it really needs to be. But storyline-wise, there wasn't a whole lot to this other than another guy from that generation falls short and fails in a main event setting. But I think what they were going for was the happy ending with the top-level babyface sending everyone home with the speech at the end. And he also mentioned that it was the anniversary of his father's passing. So we had that whole dynamic going there where maybe it would have been a little weird for Oiwa to get the win. But again, that whole group, like, Umino, Uemura, Narita, Oiwa, man, they always freaking fail. And I'm just like, boy, it still isn't Oiwa's time, is it? They still don't want to give him a big win. Although sending the crowd home with a baby face is pro wrestling, right? So I'm not going to complain about Goto winning, but sometimes you just wish that Oiwa would get something someday.
Yeah, I really wanted him to win this match. I really, really, really wanted him to win this match, but I understood why he didn't. Goto, it's still important for Goto to look strong as a former champion, and him losing a singles match in this situation probably wasn't the best idea. He can maybe lose in the cup, and there'd be a scenario there where he's just kind of not gonna make it all the way then, or he could win the cup. Who knows? But it's just one of those. I really wanted Oiwa to win, but I understood why he didn't.
It's interesting too, because this is a match that Goto could have lost 2 years and 2 months ago, but since he had that push, right since he had the push in the New Japan Cup, he won the, I guess it was about maybe a year ago, because he won the thing. Hold on, now I'm doing it all in my head. 15 months ago, he could have lost this match. It wouldn't have made that big a difference, but he won the gauntlet at Wrestle Kingdom 19, then had his run at the world title and won the world title and all that. Now he can't lose to Ryohei Oiwa without it meaning a lot, right? And you don't want him to lose all that often. But this is a match he could have lost 15 months ago, and it would have elevated Oiwa a little bit. But now they can't have Goto lose to the guy anymore. So it's just another example, though, of that generation hitting a ceiling anyway, whether it's glass or anything else. Right now, I just think it's kind of concrete at the moment, unless something else happens. But that it needs to happen soon. But
yeah, I don't think you can go the rest of this year losing matches like this. Oiwa, I mean, but
I don't know.
Beginning of the year, this is the make or break year for a lot of these guys. Even Yota Tsuji, you know what I mean? Like these guys, Yota Tsuji, Shota Umino, Yugo Uemura, Ryohei Oiwa, even Ren Narita. You're gonna figure out exactly who they're gonna be for the rest of their careers off of this year. This is how I feel about this. Because the void is there. Like, the absence at the top is gone. Naito, Okada, Tanahashi, Evil, Sonata. All of these guys that were top guys at one point or another in this promotion aren't here right now. There's a vacuum. There are spaces to take, and people should be hungry and ready to, climb that brass ring. If these guys aren't able to elevate themselves at this point, with the void of talent that has just left the company and the opportunity that's there, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, and I'm not sure what you mean. That elevate themselves, and they don't get to choose if they win or lose. I mean, that's
no, but they still have to connect with the audience. They still have to take every opportunity.
Oiwa can do that. I don't think this is a Oiwa year at all. I'm pretty convinced it's not now. I thought it should have been, but I don't think it's going to be. But I think
they're all going to have great years. that's my prediction. I don't think it's, oh, this guy's going to have to wait another year. It's like, I think that each one of them are going to have various levels of success, and they're going to be the ones focused on this year.
Oh, my guess is that Oe was going to have to wait another year. That's my prediction.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, and that was the end of that Korakuen Hall show. Like I said, not well attended, but it was a pretty good action there toward the end. Larry Yatt says Oe was ready right now. Maybe he is. The company doesn't think so, but they just keep beating him in those big situations. So you can connect with the crowd all you want, but that connection is going to fade away when they see you fail over and over and over again. That's booking. But this week, let's talk about what's coming up this week. We have 2 house shows, by the way. All of them are in the Osaka area. This is an interesting little run here for Bushiroad because I mentioned the Stardom's pay-per-view is at Edion Arena this weekend. And then New Japan is running 2 house shows in Osaka, including one in Edion Arena Gym number 2, just before the pay-per-view, which is in the big room there. So they're running the same building twice this week and another place in Osaka the day before the small gym show. So basically Bushiroad is camping out in Osaka for the week. So you got Stardom, New Japan, all in the 3rd largest city in Japan. It turns out Tokyo Metro is so big, by the way, that Yokohama is the number 2, 2nd largest city in Japan. And that's just right south of Tokyo right there. And then Osaka.
It's so big. Tokyo's
so big. It's crazy. So that's what's going on before we get to this. And it's notable. There's one notable match. Those 2 shows I mentioned, the 2 house shows in Osaka, not going to be on NJPW World. The only notable match, Masatori Yasuda will face Hiromu Takahashi on Sunday the 8th at the prefectural gym number 2 there at Edion Arena. Yasuda had said back in December that he wanted to follow Hiromu as well as Taichi. That was the thing. He wanted a chance to learn from Hiromu. Sadly, it looks like he won't get the chance to do that, but he does get a singles match as Hiromu Takahashi's 2nd to last match in New Japan for now. That's something that I noticed there.
Are they televising that? I heard something that they might televise that one match.
It's not. Oh, maybe they will do that one match. I don't know, but that is not currently scheduled to be on NJPW World.
Right. I saw something where they were going to do something about that one match, and I can't. I read it and it sounded weird, so I don't want to say for sure, but there is a possibility that match might end up on World.
So on Foundation Day in Japan, which is Wednesday the 11th, we will have New Beginning in Osaka. Foundation Day, by the way, a national holiday in Japan. That's why it's on a Wednesday. It commemorates the ascension of the first emperor of Japan, sort of like a founding day for the country. Japan's government has evolved more than it was created. They don't have a 4th of July type of Declaration of Independence type of thing. But they decided like the ascension of the first emperors when Japan became Japan as we know it today. And they commemorate that day on February 11th. And that is Foundation Day, which is why everyone has a day off and they're running this big show in Osaka. As we mentioned, we're down to only some scattered tickets. Other than that, the place is pretty much sold out. It will begin with yeah, absolutely. It'll begin with a Young Lions send-off match, which is Toru Yano and Togi Makabe against Shoma Kato and Katsuya Murashima. We mentioned Kato is not leaving yet. He's going to do the Fantastica Mania tour, then head back to Mexico with that CMLL crew that comes over for Fantastica Mania. But Murashima is it. Deuces. He's headed overseas after this one.
Yeah, I mean, kind of expect Murashima to win again, but he won the cup, so Shomakato wins on the way out. Or they go to a draw. You know, maybe they just go to a draw.
Well, they're not wrestling each other.
Oh, I thought they were. Sorry.
No, they're wrestling Makabe and it's Makabe and Yano.
Yeah, they're losing. It'll be fun.
Yes. Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu Takahashi will face Jacob Austin Young and Francesco Akira. This is Hiromu's send-off match. Like I mentioned, I finally get my dream junior heavyweight tag team for one night. They're probably going to lose.
Yeah, I think Hiromu's taking the pin on the way out. What do you think?
Yeah, probably so. And it'll probably be Akira dealing it out to him. It could be Young.
Right play.
It could be Jacob Austin Young. You could have them beat Jacob Austin Young and have Hiromu say a happy farewell to everybody on the way. You could do that, and it wouldn't really hurt anything. Just don't beat Akira, and there's really no reason to beat Ishimori. It should really either be Hiromu or Young. Just my opinion on that.
I like the idea of United Empire winning all of their undercard matches, but losing the main event match. So
That might have been the plan
I'm going to
until
go with
this.
Akira pinning Hiromu on this one.
After that, we have Shingo Takagi and Drilla Maloney against Great Okan and Henare. They've set this up that Shingo has been quote unquote injured for a while, hasn't been part of the Road 2 shows. He's been taking some time off. He's not actually hurt. It's a worked injury. Maloney, perhaps actually hurt, maybe not. It could be a worked injury as well with his triceps. So we don't know for sure. Could be all part of a bit of an angle going into this match as Okan and Henare likely to win. And, looking at this, Jeremy, this could double as a number one contenders match for the tag team titles too.
It very much could. I kind of assume that United Empire is going to win this one because I just think it's a United Empire night. And to me, I think they just want to continue making Henare look good since he's come back from the thing. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Henare get one over on Shingo because Shingo's still a little injured.
I would really like to see Henare have a big year. It just seems like he's so snake bit when it comes to injuries. I would like to see him actually get a full year on the roster because he's such a talented guy. After that, we have a title match, never open weight 6-man titles. This is a rematch of the previous title match. Bolton, Goto, and Yoshihashi against Jackson, Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. I'm hoping for a retention here, Jeremy, just because I'm tired of these belts bouncing around, and I feel like Bishamon and Bolton are exactly the kind of team that could put some prestige back on these things.
Yeah, I mean, between these two teams, I really don't care who has them because they're both really great teams that could have the title, and them going back and forth with it is just going to kind of put them on ice until after the New Japan Cup, and whoever has them is probably going to be setting up feuds with whoever it is after the New Japan Cup. So it's just a matter of who do you think is more viable to be doing a bunch of long-term feuds with, and what is the general state of New Japan? I would lean towards having Zack Sabre Jr. out of the world title picture for the foreseeable future. So I'm kind of leaning towards them having the title. But again, Goto also world title picture. So you're just kind of, there's a lot of parity between these two teams. And if either one of them, this isn't House of Torture and like a lower level Hontai team, it's kind of like whoever wins. But I think this match could be freaking fantastic.
Yeah, there's really no wrong answer here. Both these teams are very, very good. I just like the idea of a retention because I think, again, if somebody holds the title and keeps it a while, it tends to mean more when it bounces all over the place, it means less. And Jordan from Canada says, if I were Tony Khan, I'd go after Henare. The guy's a wild man. He's a talented guy, but boy, he just gets hurt so much. And after that, we have Andrade El Idolo against Gabe Kidd. And Jeremy, this match feels like it's been parachuted in from another company, and it kind of has been. Neither of these men have been mentioned much on New Japan programming for most of the month. If you look at these Road 2 shows, barely spoken either of their names. Andrade should probably win since it's his first one in like this, his first singles match in like this. But I'm not totally sure it matters.
I think it does kind of matter because I think whoever wins is going to end up challenging for the global title at the New Beginning show.
It's going to be Andrade.
And I think it's Andrade. He could be a good global champion. He could have that title. Right now, he's kind of in the world title picture of AEW, but he could be a sub-world champion elsewhere because I don't expect him to beat MJF if he gets a world title match with him. But I think there's a little bit of steam on Andrade right now, and he has a dual contract. Gabe Kidd probably has a dual contract. But in terms of freshness and all that, I feel like it's time to really have Gabe put some other people over on his way, becoming part-timer.
To me, for New Beginning USA and that global title, Andrade right now is the more interesting of the two. Not a knock on Gabe. We've seen Gabe and Tsuji a couple of times in 2025. The matches were good. It wouldn't be a bad match to have right there. But Andrade's kind of the fresh face. I think it would hurt him to lose to Gabe, but wouldn't hurt him to lose to Tsuji. So I think that's probably the way to go. He can beat Gabe and then lose to Tsuji.
I don't love either option because I don't want Yota Tsuji to lose at all, especially not lose the first time he comes to the States.
Oh, he's not going
after winning the title.
He's going to retain this.
Yeah, I just like there are scenarios here where I think they want to divest themselves of the global title and him, but I want to make sure that it's done kind of the right way. But either way, I really just kind of want to see Andrade and Yota Tsuji.
Jordan says if Andrade keeps going at this rate, his PWI 500 numbers will shoot up significantly.
Statistically accurate.
And then Brad says Andrade could bring the CMLL title for some defenses too, possibly. Yeah, maybe. So could Tsuji.
It is a global title.
So could Tsuji. Tsuji could do it. He was a CMLL guy too for a little while. Not like Andrade was, granted. La Sombra was one of the biggest stars in the whole company. All right. Next. David Finlay and Callum Newman. So if this
will tell you a lot about Finlay's future, I'll tell you that much.
If this is going to be a clean sweep until the main event for United Empire, we know what's going to happen here, and it makes sense. I feel like Newman needs this win more than Finlay does to establish what he's trying to do. It also sets up the classic winner of the special singles match makes the challenge to the winner of the main event and puts that in a pretty good spot. It makes a lot of sense here. So I could definitely picture in my head Newman winning this match, getting that victory over Finlay, and then either after the main event or during the post-match, if you don't want to, if you just want the Edion Arena crowd to go home happy, and then you can do the angle in the post-match thing when they have all the beer around them for the sponsor logo stuff, then you could have Newman step up to him. That type of thing feels like that's the direction to me. Without
getting too inside, Finlay is putting over Newman the way that Ospreay put over Finlay. You know, like he's going to make this guy look like $1 million and try and do everything he can to make him look viable going forward. Because when Will Ospreay left, he did everything in his power to just give Finlay all the opportunity to take that ball and run with it. And I think we are in that same situation where that next courtesy has been handled. And this is Newman's time. They set up the feud with Ospreay. I think Finlay is out the door. I think all of these things are just a perfect scenario for the next man up.
And Jeremy Orr is asking, and here's your answer. Who is the next young guy put in the main event scene? It's Callum Newman. Callum Newman. Yeah, that's who it's going to be. He's my early favorite to win the New Japan Cup. Also, although if he gets the title shot on Tsuji before that, that makes a little bit less sense since the cup winner usually gets a title shot. Often does anyway. But semantics. Either way, you're asking who the next young guy in the main event scene is Callum Newman. He's a pretty young guy and has a longer-term contract with New Japan than most do. So, and Brad has an interesting fantasy booking scenario. Gabe versus Andre goes to a draw or a double DQ to set up a three-way so Tsuji doesn't get pinned. Maybe. I still don't think they want to take that global title off of him yet. I think they want to, if he's going to establish that I'm a double champion and these two belts are separate and I'm going to defend them, I think they're going to want him to look strong and successful doing so for at least a while before they take either one of them off of him. That's my thought on that.
Brad, they could totally do that.
They could.
They absolutely could do a three-way. The reality is, to me, I don't like it. It feels more Western wrestling than it does New Japan. And for that reason, I hope they don't do it, but it would solve a lot of problems if they decided to go that route.
I'm not sure they have a problem. I think I like the idea of the world title being a home thing and global title being outside of Japan thing, but they need someone to establish that. I think that they want Tsuji to do it. We'll see. After that, we have the never open weight title, Aaron Wolf and Ren Narita. They are out of their freaking minds if they beat Wolf here. I do expect a lot of House of Torture. I expect a lot of House of Torture baloney. There will be someone that helps out Wolf, or maybe he just fights them all off himself and looks like a Superman. They are out of their damn minds if they beat Aaron Wolf right here. I would bet most of my house that he wins this match somehow. If Narita walks out of this with a never open weight title, this company's lost its way. I don't know what the hell they would be thinking.
House of Torture is in a down cycle right now.
Yeah, please.
This is this is not the way to heat them up. It's not time to heat them up.
Right.
They need to regroup. Ren Narita needs to figure himself out as a leader of this faction before they shoot a belt on him and tell him, like, take the ball and run with it over the national hero that is Aaron Wolf.
Yeah.
Having Ren win now would be setting him up for failure. And I firmly believe that. I think they just need to have a match, make it a good match, and rebuild from there.
Aaron Wolf's first loss should be a much, much, much bigger deal than this.
Aaron Wolf's first loss needs to be like in the New Japan Cup when he's like on the way to winning the whole thing. And then it's just like, oh, you did that to me. And then he can go get his revenge in another ready-made feud after that. And then he can have a couple of losses in the G1, make it to, the post-block play. If he doesn't make it a post-block play, we've lost our minds on this one. And then, you've kind of patterned him out for the rest of the year. He'll be fine, but he can hold that belt for a while.
And Brad mentioned this could be a huge match to show how well Wolf is progressing. Yeah, and we've seen him do a few more things in the ring. He still isn't doing a lot. Don't have to quite yet. He said, Brad goes on and said his debut had evil and tons of smoke and mirrors, and it was really good. Ren should have his working shoes on. He should. I think he will. He knows how big a deal this is, and he knows if he ends up making Wolf look bad, that it'll look worse on him. Heat-wise in the locker room anyway with the office. So he's going to be working hard. There will be a lot of smoke and mirrors here because Wolf reminds me of an entertainer with 5 minutes of material but a 1 hour show to do. There's got to be a lot of help. And so he's got about 5 moves he's doing regularly. He probably has a few more that he's going to pull out here, but they're going to need a lot of smoke and mirrors to get through this one as well before he has long singles matches on his own.
In a total stroke of irony, this is now Ren's opportunity to show what it takes to teach someone how to wrestle.
Yeah, that's true. All right, and after that, we have a match that I am really looking forward to. So it is the IWGP Tag Team Championship match. You mentioned it too, Jeremy. They've done a good job of hyping this one up. Both teams have. Asuka and Yuto Ice against Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino. And I'm going to say this right now. This has to be one of two things. There are only two choices here. This either has to be the tag team title switch, and Shota and Yuya show that they are a good team and can overcome the team that is the best, or there has to be an angle where one of these two turn on each other. That is the only thing I will accept. If they beat Yuya and Shota, and afterwards Yuya and Shota were just like, well, I'm just going to pull myself up by the bootstraps and lead New Japan into the next gen. Stop. The company has screwed it all up. If that's what happens, they have to do something else other than have these guys fail and say, I'm just going to try again. The crowd isn't buying it. They have to either succeed or they have to split up and feud. Those are the only two things that work. Anything else is malfeasance and a failure of booking by New Japan, a company that has done plenty of booking failures in the last 18 months. We got to do better than that here. They cannot have these guys just look like a couple of other losers who shucky darns. We didn't do it again, but believe in us. Look to me in the future. No, we won't. You're losers at that point. Tired of both of you. No one's lost more steam in the last year, really, than Uemura. Shota lost it a long time ago. Has to be something different coming out of this match. Either win the damn titles and look like a real team or feud.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said. Those are the two outcomes that I think are pretty much required here too. I'm at the point where I actually kind of think that Shota and Yuya end up winning the titles here, and Knockout Brothers come back around and win them later on in the year, whatever, something. But this is a really strong feud. It's done a lot to rebuild the credibility of all the guys involved, especially after some weird booking going into Wrestle Kingdom for all of them. And that's all behind them. They've had an excellent campaign for January 2026. And this is one of the matches I'm most looking forward to for the last month. And they've done an excellent job building it. I am very ready for it. And I'm really, really curious as to what direction they take, because it should be one of the most consequential matches for the entire promotion.
It should, because I am of the opinion if one of these guys turn on the other, whoever's heel should win the New Japan Cup. And that should be the catalyst of them just taking off like a rocket and saying the hell with it. And, then turning that into a feud between the two of them, of course, but that needs to be, I'm changing everything. This goody two-shoes stuff trying to please you fans didn't work for me. I'm going to go my own way and mow people down. So if Uemura turns on Umino because he didn't kneel on the lion mark or whatever, that's fine as long as he wins the New Japan Cup and all of a sudden he's a major contender and he's got a new attitude. Same thing with Umino saying, I tried, you people rejected me. And I just made me realize that I need to bring a little bit more Moxley into me than Tanahashi. That was where I was most successful. Because we mentioned a long time ago he had the little Moxley devil and the Tanahashi angel on his shoulders, and maybe the other should win. But I feel strongly with that. But if you wanted to make them the tag team champions and make them look like they're at least competent, then that would be a step forward in itself.
Yeah, it would. I don't have anything else to add on this one. Super hyped for this match. Really looking forward to it. I'll probably watch a show live.
And then the main event will be Yota Tsuji against Jake Lee for the world title, the IWGP heavyweight title. We do not expect them to cut Yota Tsuji off at the knees. I expect him to retain. It'll be an interesting test to see if he can get a IWGP heavyweight title match level performance out of Lee. That is part of your job in that role, is to take guys who maybe wouldn't normally have. I like Lee. I think he's interesting. He's not somebody I think of when I think big time, hard hitting world title matches. Tsuji's going to have to do some heavy lifting here to get him there. But that is your job as the IWGP champion. I'm curious to see how he does with Jake Lee, but I fully expect a retention here.
Feel like Diesel versus Shawn Michaels in a lot of ways on this one. I'm looking forward to it. I really, this is going to be Jake Lee's first test in like 2 years. It's like he had those G1 matches. They were fine. They were whatever. If you want to get a sense of what this match might be like, maybe go dig out those G1 matches from 2 years ago and kind of watch some of those matches. It could be similar to that, but he's also, I feel, a lot more confident of himself and of his abilities in New Japan in this run right now. Like he's feeling himself and his character a little bit more rather than just being more of a cipher, kind of like, I'm a big man, I will kick you in the face kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this United Empire character suits him better than the War Dogs version of it did. The Bullet Club version of it did. And Jordan from Canada mentions a great story. I think he's talking about the tag team title match. A story here capitalizing on the pressure talents may feel to step up. That could absolutely be the story, that the pressure, you either rise to it or it just gets to you and destroys you and changes you. But yes, definitely a pressure-packed match there for the people involved. And he says, I can't remember a major roster being stripped of talent at this rate since WWF in 1996. It must be tricky realigning a roster after all the transactions. Still a lot of work to do, and I feel, for New Japan.
I don't. Really don't. Like, they have so much talent and so much opportunity that they can just go for it at this point. Like, it's not like they have a shitty roster. Their roster is loaded with talent.
I also feel like 10 years ago when they lost Nakamura and AJ, that was a bigger blow. And the Good Brothers, which were perennial tag team title contenders there, that was probably a rougher month of departures. And believe me, Ospreay and Okada within 3 months of each other didn't feel great either. Those were main event guys. Evil was sometimes main event, but not always. And Hiromu had kind of slid down the cards a little bit. So I understand what you're saying, Jordan. Especially last year, this year, they've had some big names move out, but they've done it before and they've recovered before. And all AJ meant was we got Kenny on top, and that worked out pretty well. It could be that we're looking at, well, we've lost Ospreay, we've lost Okada, and in a few years now we've got Callum Newman, who's in his mid-20s, and Yota Tsuji, who's a little bit older but feels different. And now we may have lost Hiromu, but we still have Desperado, and we have Kosei Fujita. We have Daiki Nagai, and then there's. I feel a little bit better about things than I did 10 years ago when you're like, oh gosh, who's going to step up? Well, guys did, and I feel like guys will here.
I'm good. I agree with you.
All right. Well, next week, the show's on Wednesday, which means it'll be pretty fresh when we come back next Thursday to talk about the new beginning in Osaka. And we will be tearing apart that show piece by piece and talking it over. Also preview of Fantastica Mania, which is all coming up. Wanted to mention one other thing. One other match was announced this week for New Beginning USA, which will be a pay-per-view coming up. Shuri and Athena will be facing off for the IWGP Joshi Championship. That's good news. That'll be a hell of a good match. We'll, of course, be previewing that show as it grows closer. But that's a nice little bonus for the people there.
I did my homework. I had that one ready.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that one. And when we come back, like I mentioned, we're going to go over this thing piece by piece. Should be a pretty consequential show. Give us an idea of what they have in mind for the New Japan Cup and anything going forward. I think we're going to have a lot of information coming out of New Beginning in Osaka.
It's a good time to be a fan of New Japan. I'm looking forward to the results of this show and breaking it down with you. I like the idea of being able to figure out what the jersey card is going to be. And before we know it, we're going to be in March. You're going to be out of town, and we're going to be previewing anniversary cards in the New Japan Cup. It's wild.
Yep, absolutely. So make sure you join us for that. So we're going to wrap it up here for now. I want to thank everybody that joined us here live. All of you who are listening later, either to this show on YouTube or the podcast version, we're grateful for your time. For Jeremy Finestone, this is Stephen Conway. This has been Speaking of Strong Style, and we'll talk to you again real soon.